A B flat major, the 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 and 5 are major, 6 is minor, and the 7, there should be a little circle here, but it's diminished. So each one of these chords, except, this is kind of the rule here, each one of these chords in the key can have their own designated, oh, not this one. Sorry, diminished chord. You don't get a dominant. You're diminished. You have a flat 5. They all can have their own dominant chords. And their own dominant meaning the 5. It can have the 5 chord of it. So you can almost treat each one of these structural chords in the key of B flat, except for this one, as their own kind of 1, essentially, their own tonic. So if you're on B flat, the 5 of it is F. If you're on C, I'm going to say C minor, but C, it's G7. G, let me do that correctly. And then on D, it's what? What's a 5th of D? Good, A. What's a 5th of E flat? Here, I'm just going to do it like this. B flat, okay? 1, 5. Power chord, if you need to do that. What's the 5th of F? C. So I'm putting these as C7. What's the 5th of G? D. Okay, so again, if you don't have it memorized and don't have your scales memorized, just do it on your instrument respectively. 1, 5. Now, these are called, there's a fancy name, secondary dominants. Well, the F7 is the primary dominant, I gotta say that. But these ones are the secondary dominants, okay? And we get fancy with the names. You'll hear me say this. Oh, this is the 5 of the 2. Oh, this is the 5 of the 5. This is the 5 of the 6. That's the terminology for secondary dominants. So that 1, 6, 2, 5. Yeah, the G7 is a dominant chord. We're treating it as the 5 of the 2 going to the 2, which is C minor. If we're in the key of B flat major, that 6 chord should be minor. And that would be, and again, sounding like this style. Ready for this? The 6 chord being the minor chord. The 6, I'm talking about Roman numeral 6. Okay, that's the 6th degree of B flat. But yeah, that would be diatonic to the key of B flat. But in the jazz realm here, we want to get funky and make these dominant chords. As a matter of fact, we can turn all of these to dominant chords and they become secondary dominants. So we got B flat 7, G7, C7, and F7. That you'll see that, and I want to talk about that. So that's why I'm putting so much discussion. We can just basically turn everything into dominant chord. Bill Evans did that quite a bit on the piano. Number 4, now we're getting fancy. And as I said last time, now we're getting jazzy. Now we're getting a little bit fancier, and this ties into what Joe was asking about also, except we're going one step further. So check it out. I'm just going to play it instead of talking. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, top. And then again, I want to start to solo using this hip progression. So let's discuss. So we got the 1 chord for 1 bar, quick change. But as we discussed last time, you can throw in that sharp 4 diminished, create some bass line movement, tension. And it's gonna sound great. You'll hear that. You could just catch that E flat, E, F. And the F is a part of the B flat. That's why it kind of wants to go to an F note here. If you go bum, 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 to keep that chromatic little line, this. So you're going to want to target that. Grant Green uses that quite a bit. So we have the 1, we have the 4, quick change, sharp 4 dim to the 1. And then check this out here. We know we're going to go to the 4 chord, E flat, but that B flat 7 is the 5 of it, but so we put the 2 chord in front of it. This is where we're getting into the bebop realm. 2, 5, and then to the 1, but it's really the 4 chord in the big picture. So that was F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat 9. And again, to talk about some chord extensions, I might do F minor 9, B flat 7 sharp 5, E flat 9. Okay. So again, I know everybody's at a different place with chords. Maybe some of you don't know your 9th chords, 13th chords, sharp 5s, etc. But please, experiment with this. Today's lesson is definitely more general. F minor 9, B flat 13, sharp 5, E flat dominant 9, E diminished 7, back to the 1. Now, similarly as what we did on the F minor to the B flat, we're going to go D minor G7. And that's a 2-5 sequence into the 2, into the C minor. So basically, before we just had a G7 in the previous example, number 3, but now we're putting a D minor 7 in front of that to create a 2-5 chord pattern into C minor. So if you're wondering, wait, D minor is 3 of B flat. That is true, and we'll call it a 3-6 to the 2, but in this little sub-progression, this is a 2-5 to the C minor, meaning if we just extracted that separately, here's C minor, D minor 7. See, we could just jam on that all day. C minor. So again, that would be like a 2-5-1 in C minor. That's the power of that. And when we solo, that's what we want to be thinking, okay? And then we, now we have the 2-5, and then like before, okay, this is just basically the prolongation of the 5 chord, but instead of just F7 for 2 bars, we have C minor 7 to the F9 or F7, and then B flat 13, 1. And then here, just for fun, I wanted to put the B dim 7 here to demonstrate that diminished sub for G7. See, before we did G7, but here I'm doing this little chromatic bass line. This is, again, a big part of rhythm changes. That diminished sharp 1. This is a substitute for G7. Just wanted you to know. And now I bet you guys want to try it again with me, really nice and slow. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sharp 1 dim, which is a sub for G7. 3, 6, 2, 5. And I did a little bluesy ending turnaround there just to end it. I have a worksheet that I sent out if you're wondering about some of these chord voicing. It was actually just for 2-note shapes. Which is, I call it kind of the Grant Green style of comping So if you want to know more about that style of comping a la Grant Green, please look at it's under Blue Monk. It says Blue Monk 2-note shapes. And to me, I was wanting to conjure up the style of Grant Green comping behind, in the context of an organ trio where you have a bass player. What I'm demonstrating now is almost like a solo guitar approach to playing it. Or if I'm doing a trio or even a duo with a trumpet player or a vocalist, I'd be doing these bass lines. Okay, that's what I'm thinking in this context. So please just be aware that there's many possibilities. As long as you know the basic movements, that's what's important. I love 3-note shapes too for swing. Okay. We have the diminished 7 on the 6th string and a diminished 7 on the 5th string root. The one on the B dim 7. It's really interesting when you think of it this way. You just play a B flat 7, 4-note voicing, and then take your root and go up a half step. Just like I showed you on the E flat 7, go up a half step on the root. But in this case, B flat 7. Make sure you have all 4 notes, okay? All 4 notes of that B flat 7 chord. That means you could do it as an inversion up here. And then here. Or here. Here. It's a good exercise to take a dominant 7th chord, a true dominant 7th, meaning 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then taking your root and going up a half step. And then you're now playing a diminished 7. In this example, B flat 7. Here's my root, the B flat. I raised it, but you have to do some refingering, otherwise you're gonna hurt your hand. Yeah, so again, this B flat 7. Take your root, go up a half step. I do it like that, I bar, and then C minor 7, and then F9. And that's 1-6-2-5. Check it out, I'm gonna give it a 12-8 feel. One sharp, one dim. That's a substitute for G7. Okay? And then to the 2 minor 7. And then have some fun on the 5 chord. I'm going to give it the sharp 9. I added a sharp 5 as well. Some dissonance. So again, that's 1-6-2-5. That's all about rhythm changes. The power of 1-6-2-5. So many variations on that. But I really love that one, especially for fast swing, because I'll do this quite often. Even sometimes, often a 6 chord. That the dim, let the bass player play the G. You could play the 3rd off of B, and it harmonizes beautifully. Okay, it's a 3rd degree. So again, even if the bass is playing the G, the 1-6-2-5. I'm singing that wrong. 1-6-2-5. You can go 1 sharp 1, which is B diminished, and then C F. Okay, the beauty of subs. Let's go on, you guys. We're on number 5. This one now uses some tritone subs here. So number 5 is very important. This is one of my favorites to do personally. But we got a lot more movements, a lot more dominance. All the action is happening over here on these measures. You can see 7 and 8, and then 11 and 12. That's where the action is for the new stuff here. But it's kind of about these chromatic dominant chords. B flat, A flat, G, C, F, B flat, D flat, C, B, B flat. I like trying to sing those bass lines. We want to get it in our head, so when you're listening to recordings, you can hear what the band is doing. So I suggest singing these movements, right? E flat 7, E flat, E, B flat, A flat, G. The walk down, I call it C7, not C minor, C7. Bluesier, I love it. You know, the 2's dominant. It's because it's a 5 of the 5. And then check this turnaround out here. B flat, D flat, C, B flat. And that's a 1-6-2-5 with TT sub. Abbreviation, rather, for tritone sub. B flat, G, C, F. And here, I'm just going to play along, but be a bass player. Let's start with the bass. 4, sharp 4. Ready for this? That's the walk down to the 6, a chromatic walk down. Okay, so that's almost like going B flat D. We want to get to the G. So we're kind of what's called a back cycling. I gotta not talk too much theory. So just think of it as a chromatic walk down to the G. And you can use, I like 13th chords. And then C7. I'm doing C9, as I said, take liberties here. To the F, and before it was C minor, and yes, you can mix and match. You could just go C minor, and then F9, and then this turnaround here, 1-6-2-5 is now this. Very hip. And the D flat is a tritone substitution for G7. The B natural is a tritone for F7, and that's a course called a tritone substitution. I hope you've learned it. If not, check out my lessons on YouTube or Patreon, of course, on tritone sub. The basic rule is you can substitute a dominant chord with another dominant chord, a tritone away. That means 3 whole tones, 6 semitones, half of the chromatic scale. It's symmetrical. So again, D flat is a tritone sub for G, and that's our 6. And then B7 is a tritone sub for F. Okay, so it's 1-6-2-5. And if you did a 2-note shape version of it, you'll notice they share the same third and the flat 7, which is why it works so well. Creates a cool dissonance. Can I keep an F note? And the answer is absolutely. You get this. Then I go one step further, put a C minor with the F on top. So it's the 11. I kind of want to do a tritone sub here, B7 flat 5. And then more of the common tone, why not? And that's generally what I refer, that's what this type of stuff I get into when I'm talking more chord melody style. I often refer to that as melodic comping. A lot of cool little concepts you could do with creating beautiful chord melody styles. 2, 3, 4. Here we go. And top. More Charleston rhythm. Up. 2-5 to the 4. Sharp 4 dim. And the walk down to the 6 right here. And then 2, 5, 1, flat 3, 2, flat 2, top. And for that time when I got to the C chord here, I know the chart says C7. I played C minor 7. I did a typical 2-5. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can take liberties with this. It's more about like the bass line. And when I yelled out this progression here, I went 1, flat 3, 2, flat 2, because that's essentially what the bass is doing. This. With dominant chords. Isn't that sweet? I call that parallel movement. And the reason why this is so important to understand these progressions, and I realize this is all new for many of you, and that, you know, that's why you'll continue the study with it. Today is just a general overview, essentially, but you can review these lessons. I call that parallel movement, and the reason why understanding your chord progressions are so important for you when you want to solo, because you'll say, oh, what if I did this? You'll say, oh, I could just take a B flat triad, slide it up 3 frets, go down chromatically, and have the hip 1, 6, 2, 5 turnaround. So all I did was just look at this, and you know, that gives me some food for thought. Here I go. And back to the top. Of course, I might fancy it up a little bit. And just, again, embellishing. Well, I didn't really talk about this yet, but I'm embellishing around the chord shape. Or I might just be doing arpeggios. And I stuck with 6 chords there instead of dominant 7s. Dominant 7s would sound like this. Okay, so again, very hip. I love that, and I love how easy it is. Like I usually, some of you already know, I like this concept of combining things that sound hip and that are easy to play. I don't want to work too hard. So again, that parallel movement, you do it with chords, leads. I'm just outlining the chords. B flat, E flat, E dim, 2, 5, E flat, diminish it, chromatic, and top. And again, that gets me going, some ideas that is not necessarily just blues licks, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love that as well too, but the topic that we're really starting to focus on today is jazz style. And you can see just by outlining the chords, outlining meaning arpeggiating, essentially. You know, we can start with just exercises, and that's where you're gonna go to my easy arpeggio exercises, doing this. But I didn't write these yet for these, but I will. So I just got you started on the basic one. It's, arpeggios. Yeah, arpeggios start off with just going up and down, like this. I like to mix up the direction, but you'll see on my worksheets, it's not that fancy. It's just up and down, or just up if you're switching. But of course, I would recommend to vary up the direction of your line to make it interesting, okay? Oh my gosh, this is a fun one. This one I learned by learning the tune. The Blues for Alice is a tune Parker uses it on. It's very, very pretty. I'm gonna play it. Again. 4, minor minor 4, 3, all these 2 5s. This one almost goes beyond the scope of today's session on the 12-bar blues, getting this fancy into the bebop styling. But basically, there's a lot of 2 5s, a lot of 2 5s. And this again is using that term back cycling. We want to have a destination. In this case, we start with a major 7 or major 6. Very, very sweet. And then we bust into 2 5 licks and ideas. And when we have all these 2 5s, that's definitely a big element stylistically of the bebop sound. Okay, if you want to get jazzy, start to throw this in, your bandmates will go, whoa. You know, like you're throwing in some bebop licks by throwing in these 2 5s over the basic blues. And you're probably wondering, Tracy, can I throw this in on Johnny Be Good? Try it out is what I want to say. You'll definitely get some looks. However, that's kind of what Charlie Parker was experimenting with back then, you know, was getting looks on the bandstand and trying out these subs. But then he just wrote compositions that started to follow these beautiful movements here and keep circling around these 2 5s. So here's the quick analysis. This is your 1 minute on this style here. We're in the key of B flat. I put a major 7 here. You could do major 6. You could even do 13. Dominant. Not a huge deal. But it's all this stuff. This is a 2 5, a 2 5, and a 2 5. These little modules. So one thing I always tell my students getting into jazz is work on your 2 5 licks. I did not send that out to you. I will as a follow-up. Many of you already have seen my essential 2 5 licks and lines. You can insert those licks right in here and try to navigate through the progression and have some fun. And again, that's definitely in the bebop style. So here's the deal. We start on the 1 chord. Forget all this stuff. Just know you want to get to the 4 chord. Okay, we're going to back cycle. If you know you want to get to the E flat, well, what's the 5 of E flat? It's B flat. So in front of B flat, you put the 2 chord. That's why you have a 2 5. We already talked about that. But in front of the F minor, you put the 5 of that. And then you put the 2 chord in front of that. So you get G minor 7 to F 7, which pulls us to F minor. But in front of the G minor, you could put the 5 of that. This is all the beauty of secondary dominance and what's called back cycling. Then that's a 5 of G minor. And then in front of the 5, you got to put the 2 chord. 2 5, 2 5, 2 5 to the destination to 4. That's why it sounds so good. So you have the B flat major 7. That's A minor 7 flat 5. It could be just an A minor 7, G minor 7, C7, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat 9. Okay, and those are just a series of 2 5, 2 5, 2 5s. So please work out your 2 5 chords and your 2 5 licks if you want to get into this style, advanced style of playing jazz. Now we're going to minor that chord and it creates a 2 5. Again, we want to get this is tricky. We want to get to C minor and we're going D minor to G7 and then we're doing a chromatic movement here, D flat minor to G flat 7 and then to C minor. This could be thought of as a G minor 7 to C7, but it's often played as these chromatic style descending 2 5s. Until we get to C minor, the real 2, and then the 5, and then 1 6 2 5. Here it is slow. 1. Ready? We're going to minor it. Chromatic. 2 5. And we can have fun with chords. Walking bass lines a la Joe Pass. And I mix and match. Like there I did that. 1, flat 3, 2, flat 2. You know, mix and matching the turnarounds. That's what I'm saying. It's all good. You never know what's gonna quite happen until it happens sometimes once you learn these. That's pretty fancy, right? You guys like that one? The Charlie Parker Blues? Please check out Blues for Alice if you want to learn a beautiful melody. I'll post that one on Patreon coming up here. It's usually in the key of F, but I just wanted to share that with you. Time now to hit some soloing ideas now that we covered the basics.